8-year-old mother of two, Susan Powell, mysteriously vanished from her Utah home. Tonight, new clues. Why did Susan's husband, Josh, reportedly drive hundreds of miles in a rental car just 2 days after his wife went missing? Cops are investigating that. Josh rented a car for just 24 hours, and police have no idea where he went. They say he is not telling. Have cops taken that rental car into evidence? And did Susan fear Josh would kidnap the kids if she ever left him? Shocking new accusations from one of Susan's friends. Plus, police say they're being pressured to arrest Josh. He is still the only person of interest in this case. Susan's friends and family want answers.
Susan is a mother, a daughter, an aunt, a niece, a sister, a granddaughter, a friend. She's loved by many. Our primary focus as a family is to remind everybody that Susan has not yet been found.
Josh's strange behavior and his bizarre alibi of camping in the middle of the night have raised eyebrows, but police say he is still not a suspect. Are they taking their time for a good reason? Listen to this from ABC's Good Morning America.
Your pressure is to conduct the investigation of this missing person in a legal fashion, or we can get a resolution that will stand up in any court in the land.
Sounds like cops don't want to be rushed into anything. Certainly can understand that. Joining me now, criminal defense attorney Karen DeSoto and Giovanna Owings, a good friend of Susan Powell. Giovanna, thank you for joining us once again. I know this has to be very tough for you, and I know you're doing this to try and help find your friend, and we're going to try to help as well. Did Susan ever tell you she feared that Josh would kidnap her kids? Did she ever tell you anything about being afraid of her husband or not getting along with him or wanting a divorce?
No, she did not.
Period. End of story.
Period. End of story.
Now, you are close with her. You went to church with her. You sometimes babysat the kids, I understand. You crocheted together. And you were actually there the very night that she vanished. In fact, is it correct to say you're the last person aside from her husband and family to have seen her?
As far as I know, yes.
Wow. That night, did you sense anything at all? I mean, scratch your brain and just see, was there anything off at all in their interaction?
No, there wasn't. It seemed like a very, very nice, normal, beautiful Sunday evening.
Did they do anything affectionate to each other, like give each other a peck on the cheek or a kiss on the lips or a hug?
It was affectionate in that Josh sensed that Susan was chilled, and he gave her a blanket and covered her up with that. And she thanked him for that and called attention to how kind he was to do that. And he was cooking a meal for her, and she called attention to that. He cleaned up the meal and cleaned up the floor when a mess was spilled on the kitchen floor. He took care of the dishes. You know, he was being very nice and very kind, and she was able to just sit and visit with me.
Wow. Okay, that's just hours before she disappeared. Now, contrast that with this. Friends are coming forward with insight into Susan and Josh's troubled marriage. Here's another friend of Susan's on NBC's The Today Show. Totally different story. Listen to this.
Over the 8 years, it got progressively worse, and Josh became more and more controlling, and it was harder for her to remain herself and remain the happy person that she was. He controlled everything in their marriage, from the money that Susan spent to what groceries she could buy, what she could eat.
Wow. Karen DeSoto, those are two totally different stories. Could you contrast a little bit? Why are we hearing these diametrically opposed explanations of their marriage?
Well, I think in this particular scenario, I think the person who goes to church with somebody is probably a little bit different of a friend. Somebody who's watching your children and you're going to church with is a little bit different than a friend that's the same age that maybe you have more confidence in. So maybe that's what's going on here. Because a lot of times women in controlling relationships do not confide in a lot of people. They'll pick one or two people. They'll maybe one, sometimes none, Jane. I mean, you've heard those stories. where nobody finds out anything until it's too late. So the fact that she told maybe one or two is very common. That's not odd at all. And unfortunate, there's a lot of shame, Jane, we know, that goes with having somebody who's controlling or maybe somebody who's abusive.
Yeah,
you
but
don't
by the
like to tell
same
people.
token, when you're in the house as a babysitter and a friend, they always say, that's why it is the nanny diaries. The nannies are the ones who see everything.
Right.
They're behind the curtain. So it's very perplexing, actually.
Yeah.
Now get this. The Powells were reportedly recently having some big financial troubles. Now Josh's family says it's unlikely he will be able to make payments on his home. He's probably going to lose the home. Here's my question. If you're about to lose your home, would you miss a day of work to go camping and forget to call in sick on Monday? Would you risk getting fired with your house on the line? Now listen to this.
Nope, absolutely not.
Was somehow thinking that it was Sunday. So I didn't go to church, and I just missed a day and thought, we'll come back Sunday.
So you got confused on what day it was?
Yeah.
Giovanna, do you buy that he got confused thinking that Monday was Sunday? You were there with him on Sunday. You had dinner with him on Sunday. Was he confused about the day?
Not as far as I could tell at that time.
Well, I mean, elaborate a little bit. Didn't you say something to me the other day that she knew that she had to go to work the next day, so she decided to take a nap?
She was just, she knew it was Sunday, and you know, because we had talked about the fact that it was Sunday and that we'd gone to state conference. He was aware of that because he heard us talking.
Right, so the idea that he would then leave to go camping overnight and wake up the next morning and not realize that it was Monday, and there is no explanation of where he was when he arrived home late Monday, and at that point, it had been almost 24 hours since you, Giovanna, had seen her when she went to take a nap. Karen DeSoto, weigh in here.
Wow. Well, you know what? There's one thing the police don't like, and one thing that juries don't like are coincidences and facts that just don't add up. And taking your kids camping, I think we can agree, Jane, that that is just a horrible fact in his favor.
And then
to be honest, he comes across like he's not believable, I have to say. His interviews,
and then we have to add this fact, which is going to be analyzed in the coming days, that he rented a car after the police confiscated his minivan and drove that car, according to published reports, several hundred miles, and is not telling authorities where he went. This is shortly after his wife disappeared after she was reported missing. Very interesting. Thank you. Fantastic guest so much. And we will stay on top of the story, Giovanna. We hope we find your good friend. Coming